Straight ahead on 12 News, wilting from the heat, how it's keeping local hospitals busy. Then,
it's a chance for all of us to get together and to share some kind of camaraderie that we haven't had for years.
the Minnesota State Fair turns into a great get-together for Vietnam veterans. Plus, new information released on a shooting involving a Brooklyn Center police officer. 12 News starts right now.
Hello, everyone. New details are emerging in a fatal shooting case involving a Brooklyn Center police officer.
Tonight, we know how the suspect died. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner says 24-year-old Edmund Fair of Minneapolis died from a gunshot wound to the chest. It happened after police pulled Fair over along the 694 Shingle Creek Parkway exit. No details have been released on what led up to the shooting, other than that there was some sort of struggle between Fair and the officer. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. And tonight, we're also learning about the officer involved in the shooting. He is Officer Ryan Soliday. Brooklyn Center Police say he's on paid leave and has had no disciplinary action since he was hired in 2010. A police spokesperson describes him as an exemplary officer with 5 Chief's Certificates of Commendations and a Merit of Achievement Award. An unrelated murder case that happened a day earlier outside a Brooklyn Center hotel may have happened after a possible robbery attempt. 26-year-old Antonio Xavier Daniels of Minneapolis is charged with second-degree murder. He's accused of shooting 25-year-old Michael McGowan, also of Minneapolis. Authorities found McGowan in the entryway of the Super 8 motel. Brooklyn Center police believe the victim and the accused shooter may have known each other. According to the criminal complaint, the victim and the suspect were part of a group involved in an argument before the shooting happened.
Apparently it was a dispute among a number of people that took place about 3:30 a.m. on August 22nd. People were involved in a fist fight, a pistol was produced, and an individual shot several times.
Thursday's murder is Brooklyn Center's first homicide since 2011.
Family and friends are remembering a Plymouth man who died in a tragic workplace accident. Ryan Mastracchio was installing a gutter when it came in contact with a power line, electrocuting him. He was 34 years old. His obituary says he was an all-star football player at Wayzata High School. Funeral services in that case will be held Friday. Mastracchio leaves behind 3 young children.
It is a new system this year for school districts measuring how they stack up in reading. School districts like Osseo are assessing results released from a new, more challenging standardized reading test. Because the new standards are tougher, reading scores fell significantly statewide from 76% proficiency to 57%. Osseo is just below the state average.
So for us, we look at this to help us think about what we need to work on, what students need more support to accelerate their growth so that they can meet the standards.
In math, this is the 3rd year with more challenging state standards. The Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment tests were taken last spring by 3rd through 8th grade students and also 10th graders.
For the first time in 5 years, students will return to the former Osseo Elementary School next week. Staff members are busy unpacking in a building that's undergone renovations over the past 2 summers in preparation for a new purpose. Instead of an elementary school, it'll be home to the district's Achieve program, which serves students with emotional disorders. The move allows them to expand the program to include elementary students and offers a more typical school setting.
So now by coming here, one of the things they've been begging for is a more typical school experience, being able to go in the hallways, have a school cafeteria, have a library, and feel more like a typical student.
Moving from rented space in Brooklyn Park will save the district more than $600,000 a year. The district had originally planned to move an alternative high school into the space, but the city objected to those plans.
The closing of Robbinsdale's only grocery store has community leaders raising concern about access to healthy, affordable food. Members of the Robbinsdale Human Rights Commission say affordable food is a human rights issue. They're gathering information for the state health department. Their goal is to create a food charter document that would help the state make policies to improve access to nutritious food.
With this issue, Because obviously this isn't just a Robbinsdale issue, it's not just a Minnesota issue, it's a problem or a challenge for the whole country, dealing with how do we improve the nutritional quality of people's diets, how do we make the healthy choice the easy choice for people as opposed to the default, which is where we've come. We've got convenience, fast food so much a part of our lives that it's actually, when you want to eat healthy, it can be a challenge.
The food charter could affect schools, hospitals, and other places where food is produced and also consumed.
But Day 6 of the Minnesota State Fair had a definite military theme.
As Eric Nelson found out, it was a special day for Vietnam vets, including one from Brooklyn Park.
Just think of it as a giant salute from fairgoers. It was Military Appreciation Day at the fairgrounds, and giving thanks was the theme.
If those people weren't here, where would we be? I mean, they've given us freedom. I mean, they've given their time and their, sacrifice being away from family and friends.
Vietnam vets were in the spotlight on this sun-drenched day. 1,000 Vietnam vets turned out to march in a morning parade, including Brooklyn Park's Lee Ulferts, who was a Marine gunner in Vietnam.
It's a chance for all of us to get together and to share some kind of camaraderie that we haven't had for years. But for this fair to recognize us is just outstanding.
It was an emotional experience for Ulferts and his fellow Vietnam vets, who clearly felt the love at the fair. But that hasn't always been the case. For these vets, celebrations like this are long overdue.
The message that we want to convey is all of the things that our current conflict generation are getting in ways of benefits, welcome home, and what have you, are because of the things the Vietnam veterans went through. We have a mantra that never again will one generation of Americans abandon another.
It was another sauna-like day here at the Minnesota State Fair, which might make you think it would be very difficult to march in these conditions. But for Lee, he saw much worse in Vietnam.
And especially being able to wear just a t-shirt without a flak jacket, helmet, and all the other gear that we had to carry.
At the Minnesota State Fair, Eric Nelson, 12 News.
Ulfert served in Vietnam from 1968 to 1970 and was commander of the Minnesota VFW. Coming up, how this heat wave is keeping local hospitals busy.
And then later in sports, after another state championship season, Wayzata's girls soccer team is looking to repeat with a young team.
But first, a slightly cooler AccuWeather forecast, and we emphasize slightly, only the low 90s on Wednesday. We'll be right back. The Brooklyn Park Police and fire departments are helping people to stay cool during this record-breaking heat wave. On Tuesday, they offered free cold water to the public. The cooling stations are at the Central Fire Department on 85th Avenue and the police station off of Brooklyn Boulevard. They'll have water available until 7 o'clock Tuesday night. Well, you could call it the Great Minnesota Sweat Together.
The sweltering combination of heat and humidity has forced people indoors for the most part and sent state fair attendance figures plummeting. Meanwhile, hospitals have seen an uptick in patients admitted for heat-related illnesses. Delane Cleveland joins us now with more in today's Health Check. Delane?
Yeah, Mike and Alex, emergency physicians with North Memorial Medical Center say that since this recent heat wave began, they've seen about 3 to 4 people hospitalized due to the heat. That's significant because heat-related illnesses are the most frequent form of environmentally related deaths.
People can be out in the heat and enjoying the summer activities, and they don't recognize it right away that, you know what, I'm starting to get into a dangerous place where I haven't had enough to drink. I've been in the heat too much. I'm starting to get lightheaded and dizzy.
Experts say risk factors for heat-related illnesses include obesity, constant exposure to heat without air conditioning, certain medications used to treat high blood pressure or heart conditions, and not drinking enough water. The heat and humidity didn't stop parents in Maple Grove from taking their kids to the playground this morning, but many of the adults here took cover under large canopies, and they had plenty of water and sports drinks on hand to stay hydrated. Doctors say such actions can help prevent minor heat injuries, but major injuries such as heat stroke require significant intervention.
And anybody who has symptoms of altered mental status, decreased sweating or abnormal sweating, high pulse rate, people who pass out, very lethargic, somebody needs to call 911 and get those people safely into a cool environment as quickly as possible.
Doctors say heat stroke can be related to people's inability to escape excessively hot environments, such as the homeless or elderly people without air conditioning. For a full list of what to do if someone is suffering from a heat-related illness, go to our website at 12.tv. Mike and Alex?
Well, Delane, it seems worth remembering that the heat wave this week may be temporary, but you could possibly do some permanent damage if you're not careful.
Right, well, that's the message on a week like this. The medical definition of heat stroke is when your body temperature is above 105 degrees. As the doctor said in that piece, it can cause you to lose consciousness, but it can also cause cause brain damage and damage to other organs as well. Mike?
Well, good to remember. All right, thank you. Well, local police and fire departments are responding to a different kind of emergency Wednesday. They are teaming up to give blood in an event called the Battle of the Badges. The West Metro Fire Rescue District is hosting a community blood drive from 3 to 6 p.m. at Fire Station number 2. And Golden Valley is hosting a similar blood drive at its public safety building, and that runs from noon to 5. Well, coming up, motivational pirate pride at Park Center High School.
But first in sports, a season preview of the Breck football team. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back.
Well, John Jacobson joins us now with a look at sports, and when expectations are so high, I think there's probably a lot of work to be done, huh?
Well, girls in this soccer program, I think, kind of expect that going in. They kind of know what the deal is, and they'll be okay. And they'll be a younger team this year, but they're usually pretty good. Wayzata's strong tradition in girls soccer dates back over 20 years. The Trojans entered this season having won 3 state Class AA championships in the past 4 years. That might be hard to live up to in 2013. 14 seniors graduated off of last year's state championship roster, including almost all of the starters. Girls who haven't played a lot or any varsity girls soccer will need to get up to speed.
It's definitely going to be a rebuilding year, but I have confidence in my team that we will get it going and it'll be a good year.
You're replacing a lot of quality. 4 all-state players, I think there's 7 players going on to play college soccer. So it's not just numbers that you're losing a lot of talent.
The Youth Soccer Association in the Plymouth Wayzata area is well established, so there's some promising young talent here that has played top-level competition in the summer season.
There's a lot of girls who haven't had the chance necessarily to play with these huge seniors leaving, but now I think that we give them the confidence, they'll be ready to go.
Right now, a lot of the players that are going to be taking these spots are going to be coming from our sophomore and our JV teams, and maybe a couple new ones who are coming in who were new to the system. But it's nice to know where those players are coming from, and we've been able to watch their progression, and some of them are ready for that chance and that opportunity. Some maybe not. Maybe they're pushed a little bit quicker than we'd like, but we'll do what we can.
The Trojans are 2-0 so far with wins last week over Grand Rapids and Bemidji. They host Eastview on Thursday night. After a few lean years, the numbers continue to rise for Breck football. The Mustangs are optimistic about the upcoming season. We start our tour of the local Tri-Metro football teams with a look at the Mustangs. Here's Jason Malillo with today's prep football training camp report.
Breck brings back most of its starters from last season, and with a big junior class leading the way, the Mustangs are hoping to keep rebuilding their program.
The buzz around here, around Breck football, has been ramped up because of our junior class that has really set the tone. And I mean, just the school-wide, we're just trying to make a stronger Breck football team.
Junior quarterback Graydon Kulik is a big kid with a big arm, and he'll lead a pass-heavy attack.
He's got a great head on his shoulders, an amazing attitude, a bounce-back attitude that I haven't seen in a kid. So, well, Lohman had it, certainly, but Graydon is following right in his footsteps and following through with the quarterbacks that we've had here over the years.
On defense, junior linebacker Kwaku Bodum will be the anchor.
We lost 2 guys, so we have 9 guys coming back, and we all have gotten the weight room, we've gotten stronger, and I think our defense is going to be way better than last year, which is a good improvement.
Putting the rebuilding label on Breck's season is easy to do, but the players don't see it that way. With 19 starters back, the Mustangs are aiming to be a winning team this fall.
I think we're going to do the best we can do, and I believe that we can go far this season. We've got a lot of people who have been here a while, and we can continue the program and get things done.
Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Breck was 2-7 last year and lost in the first round of sections. This is Brett Burgundy's third season as head coach, and he gets back 10 starters on offense, 9 on defense. Breck opens the season hosting Concordia Academy of Roseville on Friday. Aside from Hopkins, which started play last Friday, the rest of the local football squads get their season started this Thursday or Friday. Thursday in the Northwest Suburban Conference, Armstrong is at Maple Grove. Park Center hosts Anoka. Champlin Park is at Andover. Osseo visits Centennial, the game that's moved back an hour to 8 o'clock because of this week's heat. Wayzata travels to Rosemont. Friday, Cooper hosts Marshall. Benilde is at Albany. Brooklyn Center hosts Blake, and Providence is at St. Agnes. And as I mentioned, Mike and Alex, you remember Hopkins played their first game last Friday at Chaska. They'll have their home opener this Thursday night against Apple Valley.
And here we go, all
Yes,
those
that's
season
right.
openers. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, a motivational lift for students heading back to school.
Why Park Center students felt a little jumpy when we come back.
You're driving something around that's basically the size of a house, behind you. You really got to watch what you're doing.
Truck drivers wanted. There's a nationwide shortage of truck drivers right now, and that affects all of us who rely on the trucking industry to deliver goods we use. Wednesday on 12 News, we'll show you how one metro area company is tackling the problem. It's a program that's helped one man start a new career. That story is coming up Wednesday on 12 News, beginning at 4 o'clock. Well, Park Center High School is helping students become better leaders.
The school brought in a motivational speaker to boost self-confidence and to show students how to work together in a diverse community.
We've got great kids that really already band together regardless of what their demographic background is. This only makes it that much easier for them to recognize the similarities that they have to band them together rather than start talking about their differences.
The students participated in a variety of different team activities. You can see this one right here, included jump roping, and the idea was to bond and work together for one common goal.
We do a lot of group work, and so if I can be able to bring a leadership role for our group work, then I feel like we could get done in a more efficient time and be able to help each other if we're stuck.
School officials hope students will use what they learned today outside of the classroom. But everybody getting ready to head back to school. Teachers, students.
Yeah, it's already started in some places, and by Tuesday around here, they'll be going full swing.
Full speed,
Yeah.
that's right. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Community Corner is coming up next. We'll see you again tomorrow.